I'm going to talk about something that I have a tendency to just slip into, and I call it safe work. Some people call it busy work, I call it safe work. I'm not a natural risk taker. The world around us forces us to be safe. It wants us to stay secure. It wants to protect our emotions. It wants to protect us from doing the hard and difficult thing. But the problem is the hard and difficult thing is the thing that actually takes us to the next level, is the thing that actually progresses us. And this thing about doing the safe work is something that I see a lot in my art a lot of the time. I had to learn to take risks and do the difficult things. And I see taking risk, the ability to take risk and do the difficult stuff, as a skill. And it's a skill I still haven't mastered. There are a lot of days I'll feel exhausted, completely drained by the end of the day. And I'm probably just looking at my ceiling or something, or probably pick up my phone and doom scrolling on social media while I claim to be exhausted. And the only thing I've done at the end of the day is I was watching tutorials on how to actually do something, but I ended up not doing it by the end of the day because I spent so much time watching so much videos on how to actually execute without executing. And most days it will just be something like as simple as downloading brush sets, organizing my workspace, or simply doing something like planning for the next comic book arc that I want to work on. Something as simple as that, but not actually executing on anything at all. By the end of the day, I'll feel like I've done something, right? I've spent all this time working on my dream, working on my comic book, right? But you haven't actually taken any action. You've been thinking about it. You've been doing the drafting, and this isn't necessarily a bad thing. Like, you aren't doing something that is bad. Like, you're actually doing something good. It's just that you're doing the safe work. You're not doing the work that is actually pushing you to the next level, right? You're researching about anatomy, but you've not picked up the pen to actually draw the muscles of the human body, to actually execute with gesture drawing or do the structure studies that people have been yapping or about in these tutorial videos. You know the terminologies, you know about what to do, but you haven't actually picked up a pen. And as artists, nothing is going to reward you or elevate you more in terms of skill than actually picking up the pen and doing the damn drawing. You're researching about that new YouTube video that you actually want to work on, but you haven't even picked up a camera to record even a 1-minute clip. At the end of the day, after doing all those research, after like looking here and there, like getting all this information, you still haven't done anything. It will feel like you're productive, but you haven't actually created anything tangible. You've just been doing the busy work. Being busy and being productive are not the same thing. The thing about being busy is that you feel like you are doing the responsible thing. You feel like you're actually doing the right thing, which you are to a large extent, but you're actually not doing the thing that is causing progress to happen. Because what you're doing a lot of the time is that you're being busy because you don't want to do the thing that is going to challenge you, right? You are secretly chasing perfection, even though you don't actually know it. We, as artists, have done this a lot, right? Instead of actually doing the most important thing, which is drawing, we're doing things like, oh, I need a new sketchbook. Oh, I need a new drawing tablet. This one I'm using isn't good enough. Oh, I need to check out this particular artist's video. It's him that is actually going to inspire me to draw. It's him that has this idea, this special idea of how to actually create and execute in a specific way. Oh, I need a particular reference. I need to work on this particular portfolio. I need to rework on my portfolio, instead of actually sending the email that you already have. Like, what is wrong with the previous portfolio that you already have? How many emails have you sent, right? How many directors, how many head of studios have you contacted? You're going to see that you haven't contacted a lot, but you prefer to do the safe and busy work, which is, adjusting my portfolio again, instead of actually sending the DMs that you need to send and pitching out, your projects that you've already worked on. Like I said, a lot of the times, there's nothing wrong with all these things that you do, right? There's nothing wrong with all this busy work. The problem is when you do it and you do it to replace the creative process, the actual execution process. That is when it becomes a problem, because you're spending all this time rigmaroling or beating around the bush without actually striking the nail on the head. Kind of like someone that is actually aiming to build a house. Like, you want to build a house, right? And then you're just buying bricks without actually laying them on top of each other, right? You're just buying the materials that you need to chop down this tree, and you're constantly sharpening the tree. You spend all your day sharpening the tree, but you're not actually doing the work to chop down that tree. Every swinging motion that you do to actually chop down that tree, when you've actually spent your time sharpening the whatever they call it, the axe or whatever it is you use to chop down a tree, that is the preparation process, right? You might spend half a day sharpening your axe, right? And there'll be someone else that is just swinging without necessarily actually sharpening their axe. Of course, they are making motion, but they're not necessarily going to progress as much as someone that has actually prepared and then gone to execute by trying to chop down that tree. But if you spend the whole day just sharpening but actually chopping down the tree, that day is a waste. It's the same thing as artists, right? You can make your preparation, but if you spend your whole day, if you spend all your time actually preparing and not actually doing that difficult work, then you're just wasting your time. Every sketch you do, every illustration you finish, every stroke of the pen to complete that comic book page, that is the action, that is the hard work, right? That is the non-busy work. That is actually the productive work. Every video you publish, every time you sit down to actually record yourself, that is the productive work. Like, of course, the other work is important, the one where you are actually sitting down and doing the research, because you're not just going to come and ramble unless you are a very skilled yapper. That is the important work. That is also important as well. Preparation is important, but execution, you learn a lot more from execution than you do learn from preparation majority of the time, because you're actually going to learn more. You're going to become a better artist by drawing 200 poses than you are by just drawing 5 poses and actually spending the whole month actually watching tutorials and things like that. Imagine you say you're going to take up running, right? You buy your shoes, you buy the fit, like the kits for running, you join probably like a marathon running club or something like that. You tell your friend you're going to run, you've done your research on like the tips you need to have, the mindset you need to have whenever you're becoming a runner, what to expect. You have all these videos you're just watching about running. You buy your shoes, you've done everything, like you've contacted people, you've paid the fee to join the running club, but at the end of the day you don't run. Like, you need to get to stepping. Actually, that is like, no matter what people tell you about running in those YouTube videos, if you don't actually do the running, no amount of videos you watch is actually going to give you that tangible physical experience that you need, that you get from actually doing the thing. No amount of outlining, no amount of maps you draw, no amount of magical systems you design, no amount of characters you create, no amount of like fictional weapons you design is going to stop the fact that chapter 1 of your novel, chapter 1 of your comic book, issue 1 of your comic book needs to be storyboarded, needs to be inked, needs to be drawn, needs to be lettered, and needs to be colored. No amount of preparation is going to stop that. About anyone that has done anything in this life, from the writers that we know, the Brandon Sanderson, to the Joe Abercrombie, to the Steve Erickson, to the J.K. Rowling, to the Takehiko Inoue, to the what the hell do they call that guy, to the Jim Lee, to the Greg Capullo, to the Jorge Jimenez, to the Damora. We know them and we admire these guys because of the tangible thing they've created. This guy, like, you could be the greatest artist in the world, but if you are not publishing things out, if you're not bringing things to the forefront, if you're not creating things, nobody gives a damn, right? These guys that we admire, their reputation, the things they are known for, wasn't built on preparation. It was built on the physical thing that they had created. It was built on their finished work. Behind all the masterpiece that we actually see from all these guys that we talk about, there are thousands upon thousands of hours, or probably hundreds, it depends on the masterpiece or the work in itself. There are hundreds of hours of works that were done, that were abandoned. There are thousands of completed pages that they've written and that they've drawn, and exercises that they've done, sketches that they've done, ideas that they've had that nobody actually sees, that hasn't actually made it to the light of day, that nobody ever talks about and nobody will talk about, because it is something that they know of themselves. You can be the greatest storyteller, the greatest artist of all time, but if you don't actually pick up a pen or pick up your typewriter or pick up your laptop and actually write or actually draw or actually execute, then you're just wasting your time and everybody's time. You can be the most beautiful, most strongest, most wonderful ship, but if you haven't gone on a single voyage and you're still stuck in the dock, nobody gives a damn. Because the thing that you were built for, the thing that you were created for, your purpose, you are not fulfilling it. And nobody cares about potential as much as people cares about proof of work, like work that has actually been done. And the thing always ties back to always wanting to do the perfect thing, right? Always wanting to create the most perfect video, to create the most perfect book, to create the most perfect comic book, in my instance, to create the most perfect illustration, to do the most beautiful thing. It always comes back to it. And because we are scared of looking terrible, we are scared of creating ugly art, we're scared of our art looking terrible. Like, there's this thing that happens. It even happens to me a lot of the time where I'm drawing, right? And I'm a relatively experienced artist. I'm drawing, and 30 minutes into the drawing, I'm already seeing all the mistakes. I'm already seeing the terribleness of the drawing. People are scared of that phase. People are scared of the fact that they don't necessarily they've not built up the skill to be able to fix their mistakes, and they don't want to confront the fact that they have to do the work to fix it. And the best way to do that work is to actually keep drawing and keep drawing and keep drawing, and eventually you get used to it and know how to adjust your mistakes. You build that skill by actually executing, by actually actually doing the work. If you are delaying that process of creation, right, and you're always doing that busy work, you're always delaying that process of actually creating the art, you're reducing, you are limiting your ability to move to the next level. You're limiting your ability to learn what you need to learn through that process that you're working on, like that particular project that you're working on. You are delaying the lessons that you need to learn from that project that you're working on, and you're delaying the lessons you need to learn from the next project that you need to work on. Because once you execute, what you're doing is that you are learning, you're absorbing, you're gaining experience, and the more you spend time doing the busy work, the more you're wasting the more you're delaying that process of growth, the more you're delaying your development. That is why it is usually good and productive to do the hardest task in the day, because those other tasks that are not so difficult but are fun, they always try to come in the way of doing that hard task. And I'm someone that is very guilty of that every single time, a lot of the time, to be fair. And like I said, it's something I'm still trying to work on. It's very important to be aware of when you're actually doing busy work versus when you're actually doing productive work, right? So if you're doing all those pre-planning and whatever it is that you're doing, it is important to actually take a step during the day to do something that is moving the needle forward. It could be recording 5 minutes of the 30 minutes video that you're actually planning. It could be doing like a panel from a comic book of your comic book series that you're doing, like doing a panel, planning out like the entire issue, but then actually taking a step to probably do like a single page, like doing the thumbnail of a single page, and then probably like inking a panel, right? Just doing something that is actually creating something that you can hold, something that is tangible, right? Than just doing all the preparation work. It's very important to actually take a step every single day. Be admiring the marble like for the whole day, but if you don't pick up the chisel, that sculpture is not going to be created. That thing that you want accomplished, you are not going to be able to create that piece of art that you need to create. That's why I always, like, everybody gets this, right? Everybody is always asking. There's always someone in your DM, like whenever you create an art, right? On any level, there's always someone that's going to ask you, what brush are you using? What pen are you using? What tablet are you using? What device is this? What gadget is this? What are you using? Where did you get this? How did you get this? A lot of the times, we have more than we need to actually create what we want to create. It's just that we're always looking for, there's always something out there that is so perfect that once I get this thing, I'll create the most perfect art. And that usually isn't the truth. Usually we have the brushes on our devices, the pens on our devices, the gadgets we have, they're usually more than enough to create the art that we want to create, that we need to create. But we're always just scrolling and choose to look for this imaginary device or this perfect brush or this perfect thing that we need, that we believe we need to actually create good art, when in reality what we need to do is focus on learning and mastering the basic principles and the fundamentals of creating art. That is what you need to learn, because once you learn that, you just need the most basic tools to be able to create art. And a lot of people think that getting this artist's particular brush set is what is actually going to do it. Brush sets don't matter. The writing templates the writer is using doesn't always matter. Like the basics, once you have the basics right, it's just all about execution, and you gain that you get to that artist, to the artist you're admiring or the writer that you're admiring. You get to their level by gaining experience. Like those artists that you're looking at, that their work is amazing, and you're looking at this new brush that they're actually using, those artists have over 1,000 works on you, like, and you've done just 10. Like, you can't expect to be on their level. They've done 1,000 more works than you. Of course their art is going to be a lot better than yours. What do you expect? I'm not saying that there are people that don't work hard. You may be genuinely working hard, but like I said, you may be doing what I call safe work. Planning feels safer than publishing. Research feels safer than actually drawing. Watching tutorials actually feels a lot better than having to make mistakes in the process of drawing, in the process of learning. A lot of artists and creatives have actually been in that position. It's not anything that is unique or special. In fact, like I said, I do fall in that position at least 3 to 4 times every single week. But the solution to that is not to beat yourself about it. The solution to that is to ask yourself every single day, what did I create today? Did I do a page today? Did I do a panel today? Did I did the inking process of the comic today? Did I do the storyboarding? Did I lay down the storyboarding? Did I actually finish writing the page? Did I actually start writing the chapter? You shouldn't be patting yourself on the back on what did I organize, how many tutorial videos did I watch, what brush set did I download. All that is busy work. All that is the safe work that I'm talking about. Because years from now, your career won't be built on the videos you watched, or the brush sets that you downloaded, or the notebooks or the apps that you filled with ideas. It will be built from the tangible thing that you had done, the tangible work that you have written, the tangible thing that you have created, the artwork, the physical thing, or it could be digital as well, but the thing you had spent time actually creating, not what you had been taking notes of or writing ideas. Ideas are infinite. Everybody has ideas. It's what you actually do with the ideas that is what matters. Inspirations should support the creation process. It should not replace it. That's just what I wanted to talk about today, and I'll see you later. Have a nice day.